Mawu is an ugly, disgusting, pathetic loser who for some reason is the demon Riz Lord. He lives in the Inti-Isla, a continent with a large central island and 4 smaller islands to each side. The gods watch over this land, but everyone fears Mawu's ugly, disgusting face, also known as Dark Lord Satan, ruler of the underworld. Mawu declares war against the human world, aiming to create a utopia for all creatures of darkness. His 4 powerful generals Adramledge, Lucifer, Ashia, and Malakota each launch an attack on one of the 4 islands, spreading terror. However, a brave hero rises up, wielding a sacred sword. With this sword, the hero leads the human army to defeat each general and their forces, basically speedrunning each one of them to get to the Demon Lord DLC. After gathering knights from the Human Alliance, the hero advances to the central island to lay siege to the Dark Lord's palace. The battle is fierce, with both sides fighting with all their might. The hero faces Mawu in combat and, with the help of 2 guys with Hadouken, they freeze Mawu and manage to strike and cut off one of Mawu's horns. Just then, Ashia arrives and saves Mawu by blasting them with a force of 10,000 farts. He reports that the human armies are overwhelming their forces and they are basically cooked. One of the mages tells the hero they should retreat and return with reinforcements. But the hero tells them, "Hell nah, this is my victory royale." Mawu dodges the blade and flies into the air. He decrees to the humans that he will reverse Ice-Sky himself, but promises to return one day to conquer and turn them all into Temu factory workers. Then he flies into a portal gate. Determined, the hero tells her mages she will chase after him, swearing to follow Mawu wherever he goes to defeat him and definitely not to get married and have kids with him. She and the high priest, Ulba, fly towards the gate before it closes. She makes it through, but Ulba doesn't, leaving her disappointed as the gate transports her away. The portal gate transports Mawu and Ashia to modern Japan. They are shocked because their gym rat bodies turned into a generic anime protagonist physique. In their confusion, they are confronted by the feds. Ashia tries to fight the police with his magic, but realizes he has no magic powers and he looks like a freak, so they're arrested. Later, they are released. Mawu explains to Ashia that due to the lack of magic on Earth, they lost their demon forms. Mawu says he still has some magic left and asks Ashia if he has any. Ashia demonstrates, but only ends up hailing an Uber driver as he lifts his hand. They continue walking around, and Mawu explains that they need to control what little magic they have to prevent it from running out. Although magic is just a fantasy concept on Earth, there might be a way for them to replenish it. Until then, they just have to follow human rules and live on Earth, stopping Ashia from walking into traffic. Mawu and Ashia go to an estate agent to find a place to live. The agent gives them this Doryman-ass house, which Mawu says doesn't compare to his palace, but they're basically broke. They meet the landlady, Mickey T, whose appearance terrifies them. They decide to use aliases, choosing the names Mawu and Ashia. They go out to look for work, but don't find any. Mawu tells Ashia they need to return to Inti-Isla, so he decides to make a living for them, while Ashia figures out how to regain their magic and return to conquer both Inti-Isla and Earth. Ashia gladly agrees. Mawu starts his part-time work at Mag Ronald, whose ice cream machine is always working. Ashia complains that Mawu should manage their finances better, but Mawu insists that all the electronics he bought are essential for their living. Soon, Mawu gets a promotion and is excited to tell Ashia. On his way home, he encounters Emilia the hero. Mawu is shocked to see Emilia, not because she's there, but because she's a redhead now. She tells him she chased after him to defeat him. He tries to calm her down, but she tells him she's British now. This doesn't go well, and they end up at the police station. The police think it's a lover's quarrel and warn Emilia that it's dangerous to become British near her boyfriend. They are soon released from the station. Emilia warns Mawu that it's not over, and that she will hunt him after she's done paying taxes. Later, Ashia and Mawu are eating when Emilia shows up at their place. Ashia is scared, but Mawu explains that he already met her the day before and that she can't use her powers either, so he lets her in. Ashia asks what happened to her team, and she explains that she was supposed to come with the high priest to defeat Mawu and return home. But the priest didn't make it through the gate, so she's basically stranded, powerless, and most importantly, broke as hell. Mawu suggests that she join them, but Emilia refuses, saying she doesn't need his pity. She warns him that she has just enough power to defeat him, but she won't use it because if she expends all her power, she won't be able to return to Inti-Isla. So, she will spare him until she finds a way to return home. The next day, Emilia goes to Mawu's workplace, asking to speak with the manager, but he continues to treat her like a customer and doesn't respond to her requests. She gets the message and asks to meet up after his work. When they meet, she asks if he plans to stay on Earth forever. He says he doesn't, but she points out that he's been living normally and seems to be enjoying himself. She proposes that if he stays on Earth and lives a happy human life, she won't try to defeat him and might actually date him instead. She follows Mawu back to his place, and she then embarrassingly asks if she can stay over, because she turned from being a superhero into being super unemployed in just 3 days. Ashia is shocked to see her there. Mawu tells him to get used to it, as she will be living with them. Mawu, Ashia, and Emilia are living their lives when suddenly there is an earthquake. They go outside to see the area under attack. As people flee, they move closer and see that the winged figure responsible for the attacks is Lucifer. Emilia is shocked, saying she was sure she had impaled him with her sacred sword. Mawu explains that Lucifer was saved by a friend and got there with the help of this friend, who turns out to be the high priest, Olba. Emilia is devastated and feels betrayed. She asks Olba why he did this, and Mawu reveals that Olba didn't want her to reign over them after defeating the forces of evil. Baldi here wanted to get rid of her, so he let her through the gate alone. He teamed up with Lucifer by promising to return him to heaven. Olba is shocked that Mawu knows all this, and Mawu says it was obvious, because it's just like the movies. This annoys Ashia, who asks Mawu how he had time to see movies. Mawu says he just downloaded them via Pirate Bay. Ashia complains that he spends all his time cleaning and never gets a break to update his Letterboxd account. Their banter is disrupted when Lucifer shoots Ashia in the chest. Lucifer then attacks them, but Mawu shields them with a barrier. Olba tells Lucifer to be careful, but Lucifer says they can't harm him because they are weak. Mawu and Emilia run with Ashia on Mawu's back. Emilia complains that they are running like cowards, but Mawu says he has to save Ashia from dying, otherwise he'll have to clean the entire house himself. Emilia asks why Lucifer has so much power. Mawu explains that Lucifer feeds off negative emotions, so by terrorizing people, he can use their fear as a source of magic. Lucifer catches up to them and reveals that his magic comes from Emilia's friend, Chiho. He attacks them with hollow purples, which they try to dodge. One of the attacks pierces Mawu's chest, and he complains that human bodies are weak. Suddenly, Olba shoots Lucifer in the leg. Emilia asks how Olba got the gun, and Olba says it's from the Second Amendment. Lucifer joins Olba. Olba tells him to bury Mawu and the others. Emilia prepares to retaliate, but Mawu grabs her hand and teleports them away. They reappear in a crowded boulevard area. Emilia asks why he brought them to a place with so many people, but Lucifer quickly catches up with them. Olba joins Lucifer and says there are too many people watching. Lucifer responds that he will just get rid of them. First, he shoots Mawu through the chest, seriously injuring him. Then, he throws Chiho away, saying he doesn't need her anymore. Emilia rushes to catch Chiho, but injures her leg in the process. Lucifer decides to cause more chaos by destroying an overhead bridge, which starts to collapse onto the people below, who are just looking shocked instead of running away. Emilia holds her friend, accepting their fate. Suddenly, the debris from the bridge floats in the air. Emilia looks up to see Mawu in his demon form. Mawu thanks Lucifer for his help, and Emilia realizes Mawu brought them there to absolutely mog everyone. Determined to fight back, she summons her power and manifests her sword. Mawu uses his domain expansion, causing the people to fall asleep so they can fight properly. Lucifer decides to go all out too. He fires at Emilia, but she deflects the attack, accidentally hitting Mawu on the head. She apologizes and then flies up to fight Lucifer, engaging in an intense aerial battle. At one point, she lands on a pole only to be hit in the face by Lucifer's feather bomb. Lucifer mocks her, asking how she plans to return to Enteila if she exhausts all her power. Emilia isn't affected because Ashia, now in his demon form, saves her from the explosion. He tells Lucifer that he is no longer his ally since he went against Mawu, and also because he looks like a failed Sephiroth cosplayer. Emilia asks how Ashia is alive, and Ashia explains that Mawu granted him enough protein shake for him to come back alive. Olba, trying to do an R6 peek, tries to shoot Ashia, but Emilia knocks the gun from his hands. Lucifer yells at Olba to use magic and stop acting like a human. Olba complains that they won't be able to return if he uses up his magic, but Lucifer argues that it won't matter if they die there. So, Olba activates his magic and starts fighting Emilia while Ashia fights Lucifer. Mao, still holding the magical field, feels disappointed that he is just standing there as a side character and taking care of Chiho. Emilia and Ashia attack Lucifer together, overwhelming him. Olba tries to save Lucifer by using Lightning Bolt, but Ashia rolls a 20 and counters by throwing uninsured cars at Olba, slamming him into a building. Olba tries to emotionally manipulate Emilia by asking why she is joining forces with evil, but she tells him to STFU. Mao gently lowers the bridge debris, avoiding any further destruction. He says he needs to finish things quickly or he'll not get Employee of the Month. Lucifer begins to tremble as he flies up to confront Mao, who's on a Sigma male grind set. Olba tries to open a gate for them to escape, but Mao sends him crashing into a building before he can cast the spell. With great speed, Mao appears in front of the trembling Lucifer, staring at him with anger. He asks Emilia what he should do to Lucifer. She says he should turn him into a Mappa animator as punishment. Mao agrees, adding that Lucifer must also take responsibility for making him late for work, which could ruin his chance of being Employee of the Month. With great force, he punches Lucifer in the face, causing him to look like a sad pot of greed. Lucifer is left humbled with a swollen face, while Mao declares he must fix Lucifer's mistakes as his superior. Using his power, Mao repairs the destroyed bridge and returns everything to normal. Lucifer ends up staying on Earth and joining their team. He becomes a nerd, learning about the world, especially net shopping, and wasting their finances on buying from Alibaba and Wish. That night, Mao returns from work and sees someone trying to enter their place. The girl, dressed in a kimono, has the reflexes of a 9-month-old, gets startled and trips, falling down the stairs. Mao catches her, but she passes out. When she wakes up the next morning, she introduces herself as Suzuno. She explains that she moved into the adjacent quarters last week and comes from a family deep in tradition, so she is not accustomed to modern society. Suzuno and Emilia go out for the day and are at the train station when Suzuno reveals that she has never been on a train. Emilia, confused, asks how she got to the city. Suzuno says she used the gate. Emilia asks if she's from Entaila, which Suzuno affirms. Both are shocked to discover they come from the same region. Emilia tells the group about Suzuno, and she decides to show them how she opened the gate. She lights some sticks in a bowl, and they all watch to see what happens. Suddenly, a small gate appears in the air, sucking in the atmosphere. Mao yells at them to hold onto something and quickly shields Chiho near a tree. A huge yellow apple falls from the gate, and then it closes. Mao remarks that the demon world doesn't have golden apples. That's from Minecraft. Emilia says weird things always happen when they are in the same place. Mao jokes that she's the one stalking them, but Emilia denies it, saying she came to give Suzuno some advice since she's staying with them and she doesn't want to be near him either. Mao then insults her fit, saying she's got no swag and it's whack, which angers her. She summons her sacred sword and prepares to attack him. Asha tries to stop her, but his legs are disconnected from the device. Lucifer looks to Chiho to stop Emilia, but she's too excited that Mao had hugged her. Suzuno doesn't interfere either, and Emilia is about to cut him with her sword, but Mao shields himself with the apple. To everyone's surprise, the apple perfectly parries Emilia's sword. The apple then transforms into a young girl. She sneezes in a cute way before falling asleep. They take her to their place, wondering who she is. She finally wakes up and greets them, revealing she can speak some Japanese after watching Cocomelon. Mao asks who she is. She introduces herself as Alas Ramus. She sneezes again, and a crescent moon sign glows on her forehead. Mao sees this and smiles, asking where she came from and who her parents are. She says her father is Mao and her mother is Emilia, pointing to them both, shocking everyone. Alas hugs Emilia tightly. Emilia defends that she doesn't have a child, and Alas seems like a special baby because she caught the sacred sword with her hands. Lucifer asks why Alas is referring to them as her parents. Chiho suggests that maybe she imprinted on them as they were the first people she saw after hatching from the apple. Lucifer asks then how she knew Mao was the Demon King. Ashia says someone must have spoiled her from the light novel. Emilia says whoever sent her might be an ally or enemy, but they will surely come to find Alas soon. Suzuno mentions that Alas's name is in the Entaila human language, so her real parents must live somewhere on Entaila. Mao says until whoever sent Alas comes for her, she will stay with them. Lucifer asks who will take her in. Emilia says she lives alone and works during the day, so Mao says his comrades will take care of her. He appoints Suzuno, Chiho, and Ashia to take care of her. Ashia asks why he took Alas in, and Mao says he just feels it's his responsibility to take care of her. Basically, his father instincts kicking in. Mao takes Alas shopping for balloons, with Emilia joining them. They plan to see Power Rangers Ninja Storm, in which Emilia is basically a sugar mama. After eating, they head to the performance, unaware they're being watched. During the show, Alas starts speaking strangely, mentioning everyone falling. Her crescent moon symbol glows, prompting Mao to cover it. Concerned, they take her outside, where she faints. Emilia asks Mao to get a cold drink while she tends to Alas. A lady approaches, offering help, revealing a ring resonating with Alas's symbol, causing it to disappear, and she becomes agile again. Alas calls for her mother. Emilia holds her to protect her from the lady, who warns of Gabriel's Heavenly Regiment's movement to capture Alas. When Mao returns, the lady vanishes, leaving Emilia in shock. She accuses Mao of being oblivious to the danger. They ride a roller coaster, and Emilia asks him to spill the beans on why he took in Alas, and also why he seems to know about the crescent moon on her forehead. Mao tells her to stop prying, but she refuses, saying the lady from earlier had mentioned a heavenly regiment coming after them long before his reign over demons, when he was weaker than a goblin. Mao's clan was decimated by one of our viewers. He was saved by an angel, who, despite his aggression, spared him. She taught him about the human realm. When he asked why she saved him, she says it was because she saw him crying. Emilia asks why he was crying, and he says it was because he felt weak, or maybe he thought he was going to die. Emilia is shocked as she realizes that the demon's invasion was indirectly caused by an angel. He says Alas Crescent is the same as the seed the angel left behind the day she disappeared, and she had left a note telling him to plant and cultivate the crystal if he wants to know about the world. And without the knowledge she taught him, he wouldn't have been able to unify the demon realm. Emilia asks who was the angel, and he says she doesn't need to know. He asks how Alas is back to normal. She says the lady in white cured her and then mentioned Gabriel and the Shard of Yesod. Mao is in shock, realizing all this commotion is because of Yesod. Alas asks what's the matter, but he distracts her by asking her the names of her balloons. Emilia asks what's the issue, and he says Alas might be something a lot bigger than demons or angels, despite her being no bigger than a raccoon. He says the names Alas gave her balloons are all the names of Sephiroth, the cosmoplastic orbs in the Tree of Life, and Alas might be an incarnation of Yesod. Gabriel and his regiment reach the Yesod tree, which is dried up. He announces they will begin the mission to restore the Tree of Life to its proper form, guiding them through a gate. Meanwhile, Lucifer, busy ordering on DoorDash, senses that a bigger gate just opened somewhere. Mao and Emilia return home only to find Gabriel and his soldiers have captured Lucifer and Suzuno. Gabriel announces he will be taking Alas and Emilia's sacred sword. Mao refuses, and Gabriel says he sensed Alas's energy after her shard was taken from the demon's castle in Intaila, leading him to find her. He asks Mao if he will willingly give her up. Alas yells that Gabriel is a bad man because he looks like a human trafficker with the face of a Vogue model. Mao says Alas doesn't want to go with him, so he won't hand her over either. He also refuses to hand over the sword, and Emilia supports his decision. Gabriel asks if Mao is sure about his decision, warning him of the consequences of refusing. Mao affirms, saying he won't let a child cry just to save his own life. Gabriel claims he doesn't want to use force, but then uses it anyway, blasting Mao into the wall, asserting that even if Mao had his demon's powers, he would just lose. Mao stands firm, telling Gabriel, "Nah, I'd win," saying that Alas would also become his heir once he's done conquering both worlds. Gabriel is about to blast him again, but Chiho steps in and begs Gabriel not to take Alas away, as Alas really likes Mao and Emilia. She bows, crying and begging him not to. Gabriel, touched, ends up leaving but promises to return the following morning to get Alas. The group gathers at Mao's place to discuss their next steps. Mao explains that if Alas is truly part of the Sephira Yesod from the Tree of Life, they are in a tight spot, tighter than her spot. Suzuno had told them about the Tree of Life, located in heaven, which continuously creates the world. The tree's 10 fruits, called the Sephiroth, correspond to various components of the world. The 9th Sephira, Yesod, governs the ego and the astral world. According to legend, the components of the world that Yesod governs are in danger, meaning Gabriel needs Alas to maintain universal balance. Chiho adds that Alas really has to return. However, Suzuno points out that this is based on legend. and there's no physical proof that the Tree of Life is sustaining the world. She finds it unlikely that one missing piece from a tree will doom the planet. Despite her disbelief in the legend, they are in no position to resist a guardian angel. Lucifer asks what they should do next. Mao asks Alas if she wants to go with Gabriel, but she firmly refuses. He smiles, saying they will mount an all-out resistance the next day. Emilia mentions that she and Suzuno can't go against an angel in broad daylight. Mao acknowledges that determination alone won't help them defeat the angel, but he still needs to plan for the worst and analyze the risks. Emilia asks if he really wants to fight Gabriel. Mao responds that he will risk his life for his child the way any parent would. Emilia blushes at his words. He explains that he must be reaping what he sowed in life. He knows there were parents who risked their lives to save their kids when he attacked in Te'ila. Now that he's become a parent himself, he's doing the same. Only this time, he's a parent wreaking havoc. Mao announces they should go to sleep. Emilia smiles as she watches the two sleep. The next morning, Emilia wakes up first and smiles as she sees them sleeping peacefully. Suddenly, her smile fades as she notices Gabriel smiling at them while she's smiling at Mao and Alas. She quickly draws her sword and points it at him. He tells her to relax, saying they can discuss things without fighting. Gabriel explains that it would be ungentlemanly of him to attack a sleeping family, so he's been waiting patiently. Emilia presses the sword closer to his neck, ready to attack. Mao wakes amidst the commotion and immediately sees Gabriel. He picks up Alas and moves away from him. Gabriel gives them an ultimatum, saying if they won't give him Alas and the sacred sword, he's fine with taking either one. He reveals that the Yesod Sephira he is guarding was broken a while ago, and the thief broke it into lots of pieces, scattering them around. This means Alas is not the only Yesod shard. Gabriel points out the crystal on the sacred sword, saying it was made from a Yesod shard. He grabs the sword and Emilia is unable to move it, and Gabriel tells her that the sacred sword can't defeat him in its current form. Ashia and Suzuno try to get in, but the door won't open. Gabriel tells them to decide quickly. Mao drops Alas and bows his head to the ground, begging him not to take her. Gabriel says begging won't work. Mao offers a bargain, telling Gabriel to take his head instead. Emilia refuses, saying she has to be the one to take his head and he'll give him head afterwards. Mao insists that she doesn't care about her preference. Gabriel remarks that they should settle their marriage quarrel some other time, which they both deny being married. He asks Mao why he's holding on to Alas. Mao explains that she's the hope he regained after he was saved from death and reborn. Gabriel doesn't want to accept it, but Mao pleads with him to please understand. Gabriel decides to use force, squeezing Mao's neck with his powers. Alas steps in front of Mao, her crescent moon glowing. She says she won't go with Gabriel and calls the angels liars. They became gods because of lies, separated her and friends, locked them up, and now he is bullying her parents. She won't forgive him. Alas unleashes his Gear 5 and becomes a big ball of light energy, attacking Gabriel and sending him flying out of the house into the sky. Emilia quickly follows them as Ashia and Suzuno come in to check on them. Emilia follows them, yelling at Gabriel to get away from Alas. He dodges her first attack, but she returns quickly, slamming him into the ground. Gabriel catches himself with his wings, but Emilia continues her assault. He draws his sword, and Emilia asks why he wants to fight her. He responds that he's the one being beaten, and that he can't let his guard down with her, even though he supervises her. Alas warns Emilia to be careful of Gabriel's sword as it is incredibly powerful. Gabriel affirms this, saying his sword can slice through anything. In a blink, he appears behind Emilia and attacks. She tries to block with her sword, but it's cut in half. Mao tells Suzuno to take him to the sky where the battle is happening, but Gabriel's soldiers confront them, saying they won't let him pass. Lucifer intervenes, telling the soldiers to stand in formation. Ashia asks how that's possible, and Lucifer explains he was the top archangel before he fell, so he still has some influence over them. Mao acknowledges Lucifer's usefulness and hers. Gabriel tells Emilia that if she moves recklessly, he will be forced to use his full strength. Alas asks Emilia if she will be with Mao forever. Looking at the child's desperate eyes, Emilia assures her that she will be with him until death do them part. Suzuno flies through the air with Mao, throwing him like a pro MLB pitcher toward Gabriel. Mao grabs Gabriel and tells Emilia she should kill them both. She refuses, saying she can't do that in front of Alas, who is so happy to see her father. Gabriel pushes Mao off him, and Mao starts falling. Luckily, Alas uses her power to catch him before he hits the ground, telling him that she will be with him and Emilia forever. She then flies to Emilia and kisses her sword, causing it to regenerate as she merges herself into it. This transformation makes Emilia stronger. Gabriel, taken aback by this development, decides to fight with all his strength. Emilia counters his sword this time, and they duel in the sky. She slices his sword in half, and the tip of her blade cuts his face. Gabriel retreats, saying he will find the rest of the Yesod shards and come back for hers later. Before leaving, she asks why he is so desperate to collect the shards now, after so many centuries. He doesn't answer her question directly, but ominously tells her that it's for plot purposes. Emilia floats down, and Suzuno catches her before she collapses. Mao asks what happened to Alas, looking at Emilia's sword. He becomes devastated thinking Gabriel had taken Alas. That evening, Mao lights a fire to mourn Alas. Emilia tells him to get over it, but he says he can't. Then, she surprises him by revealing Alas, who hugs him tightly. Mao asks if it's really her, and she confirms it. He realizes Gabriel never took her away. Alas explains she just wanted to prank him for a while, but Alas wanted to see him. She asks why he's crying, which Mao doesn't even realize he is. Alas is concerned, asking if he hurt himself, but Chiho tells her that her father is just happy to see her. Gabriel goes to recuperate in his apartment, chilling and even chatting with his neighbor before returning to his room to answer a phone call from a friend. Ashia and Mao have an argument about getting a 4K TV. Ashia says they don't need a TV because it's out of their budget, but Mao insists they need one. Ashia then suggests they do some market research since they have a budget. In the end, because of his past purchases, Mao has gained some points from the store where he bought their past electronics. He is able to spend over the budget Ashia provided. Emilia and Chiho return home, with Suzuno joining to pick something up from Emilia's place. They talk about how the boys will soon go broke due to their spending habits. Emilia says it will teach them a lesson, and Chiho worries about how it will affect Mao. She wishes they could all find happiness together. After Chiho leaves, Emilia and Suzuno wait for the bus. Emilia wonders how long their peaceful life will last. Suzuno says they might need to protect Mao eventually. Emilia asks what she means. Suzuno explains that the demon realm knows Mao is alive, and demons might kidnap him to re-establish his army in Inta-Ila. Mao is still a king, and if asked, he might not abandon his citizens, meaning he might never return to Japan. Emilia asks if this is why Suzuno wants to follow them to get the TV. Suzuno affirms, wanting to keep an eye on him and save their peaceful life. This bubble life is Mao staying in Japan, working hard, while she and Emilia enjoy an easy life with good friends. Suzuno says they must protect Mao from the worst-case scenario. They arrive at Emilia's place, and Suzuno and Alas are intrigued by the TV. Emilia gets a call from Rika, asking what kind of clothes Ashia likes. Shocked, Emilia says he likes cheap ones from the supermarket. Rika clarifies she meant what kind of clothes he'd find cute on a woman. Emilia asks if something is going on between her and Ashia, but Rika quickly denies it, saying he invited her shopping, shocking Emilia. The next day, Mao and Ashia prepare to get the TV. Mao asks why Ashia invited Rika, and he says he needed an objective opinion from someone on what's trending in Japan, and he asked the worst person for it. Mao says he had thought of getting the TV since his early working days, and it wasn't a rushed decision. As one day at work, he had been confused when he asked a kid who came with his parents what toy he wanted in his Happy Meal. But he was unaware the child was referring to this Digimon knockoff. Suzuno asks what's the point of the story, and he says if he has a TV, he won't be confused next time. The trio leaves to go get the TV. Gabriel goes to their house and helps himself to some tea from the fridge. Lucifer is unfazed by Gabriel's presence. Lucifer asks why Gabriel is there since Mao has already stepped out. Gabriel says he came to see Lucifer. Lucifer tells him to make it quick, or he will text Mao that he's there. Gabriel plays an emotional trick on him. He reminds Lucifer that he used to be called the Son of the Dawn, the one closest to God, and asks why he is serving a young demon like Mao. He points out that everyone says Lucifer's power now is nothing like it was in his prime and asks why Lucifer decided to fall into the demon realm. Lucifer says he was bored, but now he is having fun. Gabriel asks if surfing the internet in the apartment is fun, and Lucifer affirms, saying that he likes it when there's a new leak of Jujutsu Kaisen. Gabriel says he came to ask about the Demon King. Lucifer says he can ask Mao himself. but Gabriel says he is asking about the other Demon King he used to hang out with, the legendary Demon King. Lucifer refuses to answer, saying he's not in the mood to talk. Gabriel asks why, and Lucifer says it doesn't benefit him to talk about it. He explains that Gabriel should understand that if that event hadn't happened in the past, they would all be living a normal life by now. Gabriel realizes it's true and doesn't push further, but asks if Lucifer knows where the Demon King's treasures are. Lucifer asks if Gabriel is still dealing with the Yesod shards. Gabriel says not anymore and that he has been taken off the case because he failed. Emilia buys a bottle for the third shard, realizing they attract each other. She got a call from her friend Emerada, who reveals she met Emilia's mom and she is in Japan too. Emerada then explains that war has erupted because the Efsahan Empire wants to conquer the central continent, with rumors of demons in their army. Emilia considers joining the conflict, but Emerada advises her to stay in Japan to preserve her hero status. Emilia asked how she knew Layla was her mother. Emerada says she discovered Layla's identity after feeling a connection in a local bar. Layla visited Emerada for a while and left later, leaving a note expressing gratitude for meeting her daughter's friend. Emilia assumes Layla came to Japan to see her. Lucifer gives Gabriel a list of the Demon King's treasures on a piece of paper. Gabriel asks if that's all, and Lucifer says that for some reason, Demon Kings are always poor, and he doubts they have anything worth calling treasures. Gabriel tells Lucifer that he's the reason the Watcher is standing down, shocking Lucifer. Gabriel says Lucifer should have predicted it. Lucifer asks why everyone is suddenly coming after them. Gabriel flings a piece of paper with his number at Lucifer, telling him to call when he remembers something tangible. He thanks Lucifer and leaves. Emilia applies some celestial force to the shard in the bottle, and as she predicted, it gives off a light pointing in the direction of the next shard. Chiho returns home and sits down to watch TV, but when she turns it on, a bright light emits from it, leaving her unconscious. Ashia meets with Rika, accompanied by Mau and Suzuno. He presents Rika with a souvenir from their trip and asks for help choosing a mobile phone. Rika agrees, but is surprised to hear they also need help picking out a TV. She offers to explain the basics over lunch. Rika inquires about their TV preferences and budget. Mau just wants something to watch shows on, and they disclose their budget. Suzuno suggests a higher budget for herself, and Rika assures they can find suitable options. Suzuno expresses gratitude for Rika's assistance, mentioning her unfamiliarity with Japanese electronics. Rika questions Suzuno's background due to her comment about Japanese electronics, to which Suzuno fabricates growing up abroad due to missionary parents before excusing herself. At the cashier, a customer and cashier argue over a fork. Mau intervenes, using his English skills straight out of Duolingo to resolve the situation. Rika is puzzled by Mau's language proficiency contrasting with his unfamiliarity with 4K. Meanwhile, the disgruntled customer, revealed as the Watcher, and he complains to Gabriel on the phone for not telling him about the language difference. Meanwhile, Emilia follows the light from the shard. The light points to a hospital where she meets Chiho's mom outside. Chiho's mom asks if she's visiting the hospital too and invites her in, leading Emilia to Chiho's room. Emilia is surprised to see Chiho in the hospital. The group has already bought their TVS, but there's a commotion in the store as all the display TVS shatter after glowing brightly. Mau tells Ashia to take Rika home, which he does. Suzuno asks Mau if he thinks it's magic. He's not sure but suggests they meet with Lucifer and call Emilia to join them. He also suggests banning Chiho from the apartment for a while. Suddenly, Suzuno's phone rings, and it's Emilia. She informs Suzuno that Chiho has magic poisoning from highly concentrated magic and is in a coma. Mau and Suzuno visit Chiho in the hospital. Her mother recounts finding Chiho unconscious at home, prompting an ambulance call. Emilia reveals she followed the shard's light to the hospital, unsure if it was intentional. Chiho's mom leaves briefly, asking them to watch over Chiho. Suzuno detects residual magic in Chiho, likely from a celestial force pulse. She gave Chiho celestial force earlier, which should counter the magic. However, Mau questions how a human like Chiho can generate magic. Suzuno theorizes that Chiho's life force transformed into magic upon contact with the celestial force pulse. Suddenly, hospital TVS shatter, and they hurry back to Chiho's room. Suzuno explains that the disturbances are caused by a celestial sonar, but they're unsure of its source. Mau and Emilia will stay with Chiho, while Ashia and Suzuno search the hospital. Lucifer arrives, revealing the Watcher is responsible for the disruptions using TV broadcasts for his signal. Chiho was caught in one of the blasts. Lucifer mentions Gabriel's visit to their place, promising more details later. They realize the severity of the situation and brace for further consequences. They meet with Mau and Emilia, who ask why Gabriel was at their place. Lucifer explains that Gabriel isn't involved with all that is happening, and that he was pulled off the Yesod shard case because he kept messing up. Gabriel is looking for the Demon King's treasures. Emilia asks Mau if he knows about the treasures. He says he does, but he didn't expect Heaven to be looking for them so desperately. Lucifer says another angel named the Watcher came to replace Gabriel. Suzuno asks if he means Ragal the Watcher, who monitors the actions of all the other angels. Lucifer says Ragal isn't high-ranking enough, but has the power to declare final judgment, so he is responsible for monitoring the angels' actions and deciding their punishments. Suzuno wonders why only Chiho was affected by the sonar despite it being widespread. Mau reveals Chiho's home was the epicenter of a sonar pulse explosion, making her more susceptible. Ashia questions Ragal's intent with the sonar. Emilia discloses the angel's target is her mother, Layla. Chiho's mom arrives, worried about the hospital incident. Mau assures her of Chiho's safety and announces their departure. Outside, they discuss Ragal's punishments. Lucifer explains Ragal and Sariel strip angels of immortality, banishing them to Entaila, sometimes leading to their demise. Emilia, gripping Lucifer's shirt, demands her mother remains unharmed. Mau says he doubts Sariel's involvement in harming her mother. Lucifer confesses uncertainty about Ragal's intentions, though, as it's unusual for Heaven to send Ragal to cast judgment on archangels in another realm, Mau decides they need to monitor Ragal's movements. Ashia asks why, and Mau explains that he doesn't care about angel relationships. But since Chiho was hurt by their actions, he wants to make Ragal pay for making her suffer, which they all agree to help. Suzuno asks if Mau knows how to find Ragal. Mau says they have two possible areas to check since Ragal is using TV signals. In Chiho's room, a lady with white hair enters and tells Chiho she will be safe because her friends are fighting for her. She takes her ring and puts it on Chiho's finger, saying Chiho is the reason two beings who are normally incompatible are together. The group ascends a skyscraper, aiming to locate Ragal by firing a sonar from a nearby cell tower. Emilia worries it will affect the city's cell phones like it did the TVS. Lucifer assures her it will be fine if they don't overdo it. Emilia disagrees, insisting they just search the towers manually. She goes to one, asking the others to go to the other. Mau tells Suzuno and Lucifer to wait behind as backups. He and Ashia reach the towers and have a debate whether to use stairs or elevator. Meanwhile, Emilia scouts her tower, questioning her decision when Alas alerts her of Gabriel's presence as he falls from above. Emilia readies for a fight, but Gabriel disappears and reappears behind her, pointing his finger at her head. Emilia stays still, questioning his intentions. Gabriel denies planning to harm her, explaining that he only blocked the sonar waves from their tower to protect Ragal's signal. Emilia demands to know where Ragal is and what he plans to do with her mother. Gabriel claims ignorance, but offers information that could help her. Though skeptical, Emilia agrees to listen. Back at the tower, Mau and Ashia continue climbing the stairs, panting with exhaustion. Mau suggests it would have been easier to take the elevator up and the stairs down. He vows to make Ragal pay if they find out he was downstairs the whole time. Suzuno worries that fighting hasn't broken out in any of the towers. Lucifer suggests they may still be searching, noting the many tourists in the area. He proposes Suzuno fire a sonar to locate Ragal faster. Meanwhile, Chiho wakes up in the hospital and answers her ringing phone. The caller informs her that the ring on her hand is a fragment of Yesod. Gabriel reveals that angels hunt other angels to protect Heaven from any threat. Emilia demands to know why they are after her mother. Gabriel explains that Heaven sees Emilia as a threat due to her birth, revealing her mother is an angel and her father a human. He claims this revelation could collapse human faith and worship, so they must keep it secret. Emilia is shocked to learn about her father being on Earth, and Gabriel reveals that her father, Nord Justina, is alive. The caller talking to Chiho turns out to be Layla. She asks if Chiho believes everything she has told her, and Chiho confirms that she does. Layla then asks if Chiho is skilled with any weapons, and Chiho mentions her proficiency in archery as she makes her way to the top of the building. Meanwhile, Suzuno drinks something to replenish her sacred energy and begins emitting a probing wave by placing her hand on a building pole. Ashia and Mau, who are taking the elevator down, feel the wave and shiver. Suzuno detects two signatures, one belonging to Emilia and Alas, and the other, an odd one at Mawu's location, which she identifies as Regal. Lucifer plans to contact Mawu and Emilia, but Suzuno senses another signal approaching Chiho floating up to them in a light bubble. Chiho warns Suzuno against firing another sonar, claiming that she heard sonars upset the world's balance but doesn't disclose her source. As Suzuno observes four lights approaching, she summons her hammer and smashes through them, revealing a group of angels. She instructs Chiho to do as she was asked, while she and Lucifer confront the angels. Chiho creates a bow and arrow with her hands, which take the form of light. Reciting a chant, she fires the arrow into the sky, spreading a wave before departing. Suzuno confronts the angels, telling them she won't let them pass. They demand she stand down, claiming her actions defy God's will, and they serve Gabriel. Suzuno rebukes them, stating that God's will is to love one another and that he wouldn't forgive them for harming an innocent girl or a peaceful country. She challenges them to reflect on their actions and receive judgment. Enraged, the angels attack Suzuno, but she counters them with her hammer, daring the others to try her. As Chiho's wave passes over the people, they stop to witness the spectacle. Ashia and Mawu rush outside and see people gathering to stare at the sky. As they observe the sacred energy in the sky, they hear Regal complaining about Gabriel's mistake. Mawu approaches Regal, who recognizes him from the noodles shop. Mawu becomes furious that Regal was downstairs all this time. When the sacred energy hits the top of the tower, it rains down light particles, empowering Mawu and Ashia, causing them to transform into their demon forms and freeze the surrounding area. Meanwhile, Emilia struggles to believe that her father is alive. Alas asks if she's hurt, but Emilia assures her she's fine. Alas then asks what's wrong, and Emilia confesses that she had come this far seeking revenge for her father. But now that he's alive, she questions if that was the only reason she was enemies with Mawu. Mawu confronts Regal, urging him to prepare for a fight. Gabriel joins in, and Regal scolds him for not revealing that Mawu is the Demon King. Gabriel explains that the sacred energy belongs to Layla and is granting Mawu his powers. Mawu asks about Emilia, and Gabriel informs him that she is still there and may not make it due to the damage she's sustained. Mawu questions what Gabriel did to Emilia, and Gabriel claims he merely told her about her father being alive. Mawu recalls Emilia's tearful face as she spoke of avenging her father and accuses Gabriel of ruining people's morale. He defends himself, stating he helped Emilia focus on the bigger picture. Regal prepares to leave, but Mawu punches him, knocking him down. He admonishes them for hurting his friend and emphasizes that even demons cannot justify hurting others' feelings as justice. Regal declares that if they want to fight, he'll leave them to Gabriel and proceeds to fly away. Mawu attempts to pursue him, but Gabriel blocks his path. Catching Mawu's punch, he was aiming at him. Ashia tries to attack Gabriel, but he easily deflects the rocks, telling Mawu that even at his full demon power, he cannot defeat him. Emilia confides in Alas, admitting that being a hero might have been too much for her to handle. Alas asks if she doesn't like being a hero, and Emilia explains that while she never liked it much, being a hero brought her and Alas together, so she doesn't hate it that much. She asks Alas what she wants to be, and Alas says she wants to be a Raksaguma, which Emilia loves, and she wants to make her mom. Emilia smiles and hugs Alas, apologizing for being a coward. She then carries her, feeling her will to fight returning. Gabriel hits Mawu with a ball of lightning, pushing him back, and tells Regal to continue. Mawu instructs Ashia to stop Gabriel, who pulls out his sword, despite it not being fully reformed, stating that it can still cut anything. Ashia charges at him, but Gabriel disappears and reappears behind Mawu, calling them straightforward fighters. He blasts Mawu, causing him to crash into Ashia. Gabriel reveals they've been fighting a double all this time as he creates more clones of himself. Suddenly, Regal falls back onto the tower, and they see that Emilia has arrived. He asks if she got her feelings together, but she says she put them aside as she attacks him, cutting down a clone. However, more clones surround her and hold her in place. Mawu flies down and catches the real Gabriel, pinning him to the tower for Emilia to attack. Gabriel blasts him away, but Emilia quickly strikes him with her sword, sending him flying and causing his clones to disappear. Regal questions their motives, stating that him catching Layla is not their concern. He is then shot in the back by an arrow fired by Chiho. Mawu and Emilia are surprised by her actions. Regal tells Layla that she should reveal herself and face the consequences. His wings suddenly disappear, and he falls to the ground weakened. Gabriel tells him it's their loss and suggests they leave, assuring him they are not betraying heaven and that avoiding such a risky battle is best. He tells Chiho that he would like to see how she and the people of Earth change the world before leaving with Rhaegal. Emilia asks Chiho if she's her mom, and Chiho communicates that her mom apologizes and says she is taking back Mawu and Ashia's mana, as it has already upset the world's balance. Emilia begs Chiho to let her talk to her mom, but Chiho apologizes, saying there's no time. She quickly aims her arrow to the sky, reciting a chant, and undoes the mana she released. The sacred energy resonates through the sky like an aurora, and everyone stares in awe as small balls of light fall down like snow. Chiho stops floating and lands on the ground, sound asleep. The group enjoys their peace as they share a meal. The TV announces a fireworks celebration coming up, and Mawu expresses interest in going, while Lucifer complains about the crowds at the event. Emilia gets their attention and bows as she reveals that she will be going to stay at her parents' place. That night, Mawu and Suzuno escort her and Chiho as they go to their place. Suzuno asks if she is sure about leaving, and she explains that she always wanted to defeat Mawu, but when Alas came into their lives, defeating him got complicated. Now, both angels and demons are always causing trouble for them. She's tired of random outsiders messing with her, so she wants to return to Ente-Isla for a while to rest. She adds that if she retraces her mother's footsteps in Ente-Isla, she might figure out some things about her mother, the Yesod shards, and the connection between heaven and demons. She's not certain she will find anything, but she hopes she gets lucky. Chiho asks if she can see her off, and Emilia says she can, as Emerada is opening the gate for her Monday afternoon, and Chiho will be in school by then. Suzuno assures her she will see Emilia off. Emilia says she will be back on the 12th, which is her joint birthday party with Chiho. Emilia assures her that she will be fine after all, she's the world's strongest hero, and she won't do anything dangerous with Alas there, and basically, she's just going to clean up her old home. Alas wakes up as they are talking, and Emilia carries her to go put her to bed, bidding farewell to them. Emerada holds Emilia's hands as they transport through the gate, and they finally reach Ente-Isla. Emilia is so grateful to be home. Emerada shows her a map and where her hometown Sloane is located and the shortest route to get there. She gives her some money as well. Emilia asks if it means they are parting ways, and Emerada explains that the church is responsible for the reconstruction of Sloane after the demon's invasion, and Olba is known as a hero to the people, which she's investigating how that came to be. But she doesn't want to jeopardize the investigation by being seen in that area, so she shows her the area she will pick her up after 7 days. She gives Emilia an angelic quill pen that Layla left behind, saying she can use it to open a gate anywhere she wants. Emilia says she should hold on to it as their trump card. Then she starts her journey to her homeland, swearing to uncover a clue about her mother. Emilia buys some clothes from the market to change into and looks for the caravan to book a trip to her hometown. She settles for the night in an inn with poor rooms. Alas, Ramis needs to go potty, so Emilia rushes to the toilet with her, but it's not as luxurious as the ones they enjoyed on Earth. The caravan takes them to her home, and as she walks around, she sees her father's field of wheat and cries tears of happiness that it's still alive, running into it. She hugs Alas, who doesn't understand Emilia's happiness. Emilia says this is her sign that she will find a clue. She starts at the house where she and her parents lived, but there was nothing despite her searching. As they eat dinner, Emilia asks Alas if she senses any shards of Yesod around, but Alas says she doesn't. While Emilia arranges the place, disappointed she won't find anything, she opens a drawer and discovers a paper for a license to cultivate new land. The next morning, she searches for the place using the poorly drawn map. Suddenly, Alas wakes up, jumps from her back, and runs into a tree. Emilia follows and finds herself on the other side, passing through a barrier. Alas points to a cabin, and Emilia's shard glows. She asks Alas about the place, and Alas says it's Mama's home, smelling like her. When Emilia asks her Mama's name, Alas says Layla, shocking Emilia. Realizing Alas must see Layla in her, she figures Layla entrusted Mawu with a shard of Yesod, meaning Alas is Layla's. Emilia cries, questioning why her mother saved Mawu. She deduces her mother spread the broken Yesod shards and might be trying to reassemble them, with her father knowing about it. She wants to ask Alas something, but the girl is gone. Emilia finds her shouting that Asiath is gone. Alas's crescent moon glows, and Emilia warns her to stop, fearing Olba will find them. Alas's crescent moon shoots a beam, undoing the barrier. Emilia grabs Alas and runs, but a gate appears. Olba, Rhaegal, and soldiers step out. Alas turns into a sword as Emilia prepares for an attack. Olba invites her to Efsahan, revealing her father is alive in Heavenly Regiment custody. Understanding the threat, Emilia allows herself to be caught. In Efsahan, she wonders how to change the situation. On September 12, Emilia is still missing. Mau heads for his moped license exam, studying on the bus, looking at his phone for text message from Emilia. When a man and his daughter enters the bus and sit beside him, the girl sniffs his hands and Mau pulls away. Mau quickly exits as he reaches stop and rushes to his test. Shockingly, the girl and the father are also taking the test. They introduce themselves to him. The girl is Tsubasa and her father is Sato. She asks for his name and Mau drops his book, surprised when she asks if he's the Demon King. Tsubasa explains his name sounds like a video game boss. She sniffs his hands again, and he flees, calling them weird. Sato tells her not to be rude, but she insists his hands smell familiar, like a warm place she's been before. They finish the test, and Tsubasa approaches Mau. He asks how it went, and they both doubt they will pass since they couldn't read the questions. He advises them to stop applying as it's a waste of money. Tsubasa draws near and smells his hands again, which he allows, but pulls away when she nibbles. She asks her father if she can remove her hat, revealing her white hair, and mentions her big sister, Alas. Mau is confused, wondering how the younger sister looks older than the older one. He asks if they are both from Inti Isla, surprising the father. Mau catches his expression and asks them to reveal their real names. In their language, Sato says they can't be sure Mau isn't an enemy. Tsubasa assures her father that Mau is not an angel. She reveals her real name is Asiath. Mau tells Sato he knows they aren't blood relatives. Sato confirms, revealing his name is also fake, changed when he arrived in Japan. Mau says he needs Sato's help as he and his friends are looking for Emilia since she has returned. Sato is shocked, grabs Mau, and asks how he knows Emilia and where she is, then falls to his knees. His behavior confirms Mau's guess that Sato is related to Emilia. Sato reveals his name is Nord Justina, Emilia's father. Mau suddenly receives a mind link from Suzuno, startling him. She explains that she had to use it since he wasn't answering his phone. She instructs him to go to the area where Chiho's school is. Mau questions why, as he has other matters to attend to, but Suzuno informs him that she received an sauce from Chiho, and that the storm outside is centered on just Chiho's school. She doesn't know who is responsible, but someone is deploying a massive spell that controls the weather, and she and Lucifer won't be able to hold out for long. Mau considers what to do with Nord and Asiath. Asiath tells him she heard everything Suzuno said, and it won't be good for either one of them if they are separated, which Mau agrees with. She asks if they can fly there, but Mau says he can't fly them there. She tells him to just point the direction, raising her finger up, which glows, and suddenly all three start floating, surprising everyone in the building. She takes them outside and heads towards the direction of the storm. They stop at Mau's place to drop Nord with Ashia. Mau tells him to look after him, and he will explain things later. Then Asiath drags him towards the storm location. They reach the storm, and a massive wind is blocking their path. They fly low, and Asiath says the wind is magic wind, and it seems it was created with celestial force, and they can undo it easily, but Mau can't do it, so she will do it. She says her father isn't there to use as a host, so she will use Mau, even though she doesn't want to. She bumps foreheads with him, but is in shock that he is the Demon King. She expresses that she can't believe she's letting herself be used by a demon. She glows and disperses into several lights surrounding Mau, empowering him. She reforms as a sword better half, and Mau has a half-demon transformation. The demon responsible for the attack has already defeated Suzuno and Lucifer and already captured Chiho, but Mau cuts through the wind, dispersing it, and flies past the demon, cutting off his hands. He carries Chiho and Suzuno, apologizing to them for being late. He drops the girls with Lucifer, then faces the demon and the angel. Mau, displaying immense power, warns the demon that he will be dead if he retaliates. Suzuno notes that it's not magic or celestial force, but raw power emanating from Mau. He dares them to fight him in this form. The light transforms into the sword, better half. Without hesitation, Mau wipes out the angel soldier, knowing that using the sword will have a rebound effect on him afterward. The demon backs down easily as Mau warns him there will be consequences for his action. He then addresses the angel, questioning how long they will keep disturbing the peace of Japan. The armored angel charges at Mao in a rage, but Mao easily counters his attack, cutting the angel's spear, impressing himself with the sword's effectiveness. The angel continues the fight, trying to end Mao, but Mao, being cornered, tells Asiath to change back. She transforms back to her human form, and as the angel charges again, Mao delivers a series of punches, finally knocking him out. Gabriel appears from a gate, asking the angel, Chamuel, if he's okay. Asiath, in anger, tries to go after Gabriel, but Mao holds her back. Gabriel tells Chamuel they should return, promising another fight another day. Mao demands an explanation, but Gabriel directs him to take his number from Lucifer and offers an apology. He fixes the school's damage and erases the memory of the people trapped in the school for an hour. Mao asks if there will be a rematch, and Gabriel hints that it's likely, revealing they have Emilia in their custody before leaving with Chamuel through the gate. Asiath flies them back to the apartment, and Mao is shocked to hear that Ashia and Nord were kidnapped by Gabriel and his soldiers. A lady reveals that Ashia also left a message for him, saying he's waiting for him at the Gates of Hell in the Yuno Art Museum. Mao rallies the group, declaring they will save all their captured comrades. He suspects that Emilia's lack of retaliation might be out of compassion for someone or something. He asserts that the enemy must be at Efsahan and confirms their location after collecting Gabriel's number from Lucifer. Lucifer expresses doubt, but Mao decides he will stay behind, stating it's for the best, as the gate will require more celestial force if there are too many people. Chiho worries for him, but Suzuno reassures her, saying it's for the best as the gate will require more celestial force if there are too many people. Mao, Suzuno, and Asiath embark on their journey to Efsahan, camping in the forest along the way. As they ride their scooters to their next destination, Suzuno senses something and tells them to stop. They notice soldiers marching on the other path, so Mao suggests going around the enemy. Suzuno suddenly wakes up to see Mao in front of her, who silences her and tells her to remain still as someone is approaching. She asks if it's an enemy, but he hopes it's an ally. The person recognizes the scooters and asks everyone in the tent to step out, calling their names. Mao assures that it's not an enemy and unzips the tent to reveal Albert End. Albert explains that he came because there are reports of people in church robes driving weird wagons. He followed the rumor and asks if they came to save Emilia. Suzuno confirms and inquires about Emirata, mentioning she tried to contact her via Mind Link but received no response. Albert reveals that Emirata was summoned to the church capital and branded a traitor for going against their will, which they did to cover up for Alba's wrongdoings. He adds that they aren't allowing her to see anyone, explaining why Suzuno couldn't contact her. Mao invites Albert to join them in rescuing Emilia, and Albert accepts but asks if Asiath is the one who fused with Emilia's sword. Mao clarifies that Alas and Asiath are both sacred sword. However, when Mao asks Asiath to transform into her sword form, she only turns into a dagger in Mao's hands. Suzuno questions what's wrong, and Asiath mentions that it's like Mao is refusing to let her use her power. Mao denies this, but suddenly rushes into the bushes to throw up. Albert comments that they can't use the sacred sword, which Suzuno acknowledges but suspects something is off. Mao returns and Suzuno points out that it's weird they've returned to Intaila, but Mao hasn't returned to his demon form. In an inn, Suzuno forbids Mao from joining the fight, citing his lack of powers. Frustrated, Mao questions why his powers aren't working, but Asiath, too sleepy, mentions they need to eat more shrimp. Mao's anger rises, but Albert restrains him from beating Asiath. Reluctantly, Mao agrees to stay. Suzuno assures him she'll bring everyone back safely, emphasizing that she wants to repay his past help. Albert states he's only joining to assist Emilia, and Mao approves, recognizing the need for allies. He questions why Albert and Emirata didn't defeat him in Japan without Emilia. Albert explains it was Emilia's wish. Suzuno urges them to leave. Albert instructs Mao to remain with Asiath and behave. Emilia leads the armies to a seemingly deserted town. Olba questions if she's certain about the enemy's presence there, but Emilia, armed and armored, orders her men to charge toward Ashia Castle. Olba becomes angry at her lack of response to his question as she charges towards the castle, where Ashia awaits her. At the castle, Ashia questions why Emilia came despite hearing about his Hiyako and his ginger bud. Emilia asserts that she and her sword don't need a ginger bud with her Hiyako. Ashia suggests ending their battle once and for all, and they both take to the air to engage in combat. Alba tries to stop Emilia, but some demons prevent him from interfering, warning him not to meddle in their battle. Emilia and Ashia engaged in aerial combat, discussing Mawu's potential arrival. Ashia confirms that Mawu will come, so they resolve to continue fighting until Mawu arrives, knowing they must play into the enemy's hands for now. As Asiath wakes up, Mawu asks how she's feeling, and she mentions a headache and neck ache from their earlier flight. When the crescent moon on her glows, Mawu realizes that Alas must be fighting. Asiath confirms this, pointing in the direction where she senses the battle. Mawu is frustrated that he can't sense it himself, but Asiath urges him to hurry to Alas's aid, suggesting that even though he may feel useless, she can still do something on her own. Mawu decides they need to act quickly to save Alas and prepares the scooter, explaining to Asiath that flying might attract attention. He instructs her to ride the scooter cautiously, emphasizing the need to avoid tipping off Gabriel and his men. Together, they ride towards the location of the fight. Meanwhile, Ashia and Emilia continue their intense aerial duel. Ashia dodges Emilia's attacks, acknowledging the toll the conflict has taken on their demon citizens. Emilia expresses regret over the casualties. Ashia assures her it's not her fault. He asks about Alas, and Emilia confirms Alas's well-being. Their battle continues, with Ashia using a magic rope to restrain Emilia before tossing her across the rooftop. This infuriates her as she hurt her nose and she slams him into the roof. He warns her not to cause too much damage, as her father is being held nearby in the cloud retreat. Emilia is moved to tears at the revelation that her father is close. Ashia reminds her not to make any suspicious moves that could jeopardize his safety, and Emilia, wiping away her tears, declares her readiness to fight with all her strength. They resume their duel. As the fight between Ashia and Emilia drags on for 7 hours, the angels watch from a distance. Regal comments on Ashia's surprising strength, noting that Gabriel had easily defeated him in Japan. Chamuel wonders if Emilia is holding back, given that her Yesod power should make her a match for Ashia, implying she should have won by now. Gabriel acknowledges this, but reassures that Emilia won't lose, and they will intervene if necessary. Regal then spots the scooters approaching the castle, and Gabriel notes that it's about time they showed up. Mawu and Asiath drive forward, encountering soldiers who, unfamiliar with the scooters, start shooting arrows at them, thinking they are demons. Mawu instructs Asiath to keep driving at full speed. The soldiers, fearing being hit, give way. Mawu honks the horn to catch the attention of Ashia and Emilia, who are relieved he came but confused by his mode of transport. Asiath warns Mawu that the cavalry is catching up, and he tells her to follow the plan. She happily lights and throws firecrackers at the cavalry, causing chaos. Mawu does the same with a fire bottle, forcing the soldiers to move aside to avoid the fire. As they approach more soldiers, Mawu instructs Asiath to keep advancing without harming anyone. They spot Olba and the demons at the entrance, but Mawu tells Asiath they will drive straight through. They end up crashing through the gates and into the cloud retreat. Emilia and Ashia worry about the potential collapse of the structure, but a light beam shoots into the sky as Mawu descends from it. Ashia bows to him, while Mawu complains about missing work shifts and needing to apologize to his colleagues. Emilia, unusually shy, thanks Mawu for his help and promises to apologize when they return to Japan, a reaction that Mawu finds strange. Asiath flies towards them, carrying Nord. Emilia starts crying upon seeing her father. Mawu presents Nord as an apology for all the trouble he's caused her. Emilia hugs her father, crying with relief that he is still alive. Alas Ramas appears and hugs Mawu, who reveals he brought someone for her too. Asiath is surprised to see that Alas Ramas is still a baby. Alas Ramas jumps to Asiath, complimenting her on how much she has grown. Asiath begins to cry, hugging her big sister and expressing how much she missed her. Alas Ramas comforts her, telling her not to cry. Emilia, overwhelmed with questions, is reassured by Mawu, who promises to answer everything once they return. He points out that they have a bigger problem now. They look up to see the angels staring down at them. Mawu faces the angels. Regal taunts him, claiming the angels have the upper hand in Enta Isla. Mawu retorts that Regal should only boast if he actually wins, otherwise, it would be embarrassing. He asks Gabriel if he is joining the fight, and Gabriel confirms. Chamuel, already gearing up for battle, chants Mawu's name repeatedly. Mawu turns to Emilia, asking if she's ready. She affirms and transforms Alas Ramas into her sword form. Regal questions Emilia's plan, pointing out that her siding with demons to fight angels will be witnessed by many. So Mawu tells Emilia to stand down and not fight, charging towards the angels himself. Meanwhile, Albert and Suzuno rush to stop Imurata's trial. They arrive just in time, with Suzuno declaring the trial unlawful and demanding it be halted. Mawu engages the angels, firing magic balls at Regal. Regal dodges and counters with his own attacks, which Mawu evades. Ashia hurls parts of the ceiling at Gabriel, but Gabriel easily deflects them. Mawu takes a hit from Regal's attack, prompting Emilia to move, but he tells her to stay put and protect her father. Emilia and Asiath move aside, allowing Mawu and Ashia to maneuver away from the angels' assaults. In the midst of the chaos, Mawu's phone rings. It's Suzuno, who scolds him for not staying out of the fight as she instructed. Mawu explains he had to act as she was taking too long. Suzuno mentions she stopped Emurata's trial in time, retrieved Emurata's angelic quill, and asks why the army is collapsed like dominoes. Mawu replies that a lot has happened while dodging Chamuel's spears. He promises to compensate Suzuno for the scooters he smashed and informs her that they saved Emilia's father. Regal attacks Mawu, who blocks the punches and kicks Regal down. Ashia tells Suzuno to watch over the Emperor Unifier, which a demon will soon deliver to her. Amidst the intense battle, Mawu demonstrates his combat prowess, holding his ground against Regal and Chamuel. The battle rages on, with Mawu and Ashia showcasing their formidable teamwork against the angels. Emilia feels the need to join the fight but can't. Asiath sniffs her and pulls out the Yesod shard from her armor, saying that's what they need. However, she frowns, noting it's been exposed to too much celestial force. The shard shines a light, pointing to Ashia's chest. Emilia wonders if Ashia also has one. Gabriel and Regal summon more angels to stop the demon from delivering the Emperor Unifier. But Suzuno knocks them out, saying she will assist even though she doesn't fully understand what's happening. Asiath tells Emilia she needs a shard exposed to magic instead of celestial force. Emilia charges past the angels towards Ashia, slicing his armor. A shard falls out, and Gabriel tries to grab it first, but Emilia tosses it to Mawu. Asiath quickly touches her forehead to Mawu's, and he is covered with mire. Mawu thanks Emilia for her help, saying the shard has been exposed to so much magic, making it easier for Asiath to adapt to him. Empowered, Asiath transforms into her sword form in Mawu's hands. Mawu, now furious, says the angels have bullied and abused his comrades, citizens, and the humans he plans to rule. He declares he will no longer show them mercy and goes to fight the angels. Emilia is confused. Alas, Ramus reveals that Asiath is the other half of Yesod and can transform into a sacred sword. She asks how Mawu can use it. Ashia explains that all Yesod shards are celestial force-based, but that doesn't make them sacred. Alas, Ramus adds that Yesod are branches connected together by one heart, giving them the power to fight. Suzuno confronts Olba, saying she didn't expect to see him in Efsahan after he disappeared in Japan. She declares she will cast judgment on him for his crimes. She tells the demons holding him captive to do whatever she tells them to, which they oblige as a way to atone for siding with Olba and the angels. She says she strives for a world with peace and aims for justice to reign. Olba asks if she dares to stand against the genuine angels and the will of heaven. Suzuno responds that there are no genuine angels. She faces the soldiers, telling them that angels are ordinary humans who grew wings and declared themselves superior. She says angels are the demons for bringing terror to their peaceful Efsahan. She declares that demons aren't the cause of the war and the Emperor Unifier will prove her right. Albert and Imurata arrive with soldiers from the church. The Emperor Unifier testifies to Suzuno speaking the truth, saying Ashia had protected him and endeavored to keep the knights from harming each other by going to war. Now, they should side with their saviors and stand against injustice, which the knights accept. Suzuno announces to the knights that their real enemies are the three apostates calling themselves angels. Mawu gets serious with the angels, sending Regal flying into the castle. Chamuel charges in with his rage, but is sent flying too. Regal opens a gate for them to escape. Mawu tries to stop him, but Gabriel steps in. Mawu slams Gabriel into the castle. Gabriel asks him to go easy on him. Mawu says he's already going easy by not killing him on the spot, and that he will bring him back to Japan to make him spill everything he knows. Mawu ties up Gabriel. Emeralda complains that the whole place is a mess. Mawu asks about her trial. Emeralda says Suzuno and Albert saved her just in time, and now they are going to get rid of the moles in the church. She tells Emilia to fight for her own sake henceforth, not for the world's. The male branch demons tell Suzuno to stay safe, and Suzuno says she hopes their next meeting will be on speaking terms, not fighting terms. As the place is being fixed, Emilia tells Mau she wants to apologize for the damage she caused to his people. He tells her not to worry about it, saying she did it because she is the hero, and he caused it because he was the Demon King. They were just fulfilling their duties. He assures her that their relationship hasn't changed and tells her that she owes other people apologies instead, like Chiho and Rika. He mentions that he already got Chiho something for her birthday. Emilia feels sad about leaving them, but Mau tells her not to worry and to go apologize to them. He says they will be happy to know she's okay. Chiho is walking home when she receives a text. She quickly runs to Mau's place and sees everyone has returned. She hugs Emilia, crying that she returned safely. They go inside to celebrate with tea. Ashia asks Lucifer if anything happened while they were gone, but he says no. Emilia watches over her father and is happy when he finally wakes up. She cries and hugs him. Later that night, they all gather around the table to eat dinner, happy to be together once more. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.